More protein than milk, 92 nutrients in one plant. Why was it erased? For thousands of years, one plant quietly fed civilizations, healed the sick, and survived where other crops failed. It grew in droughts, it restored malnutrition, it packed an absurd concentration of nutrients into a handful of leaves. Then, almost overnight, it vanished from mainstream agriculture, medicine, and food systems. Today it's resurfacing again, and when people discover what it contains, the first question is always the same: why have we never been told about this? This plant is Moringa oleifera, often called the miracle tree, and its story is not just about nutrition, it's about power, economics, and forgotten knowledge. Moringa isn't healthy in the modern marketing sense, it's statistically abnormal. Gram for gram, it contains more protein than milk, more iron than spinach, more calcium than many dairy products, more vitamin A than carrots, and more potassium than bananas. But those comparisons barely scratch the surface. When researchers analyzed moringa leaves, seeds, and pods, they identified over 90 essential and beneficial nutrients, including all 9 essential amino acids, which is actually pretty rare for plants, dozens of antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and trace minerals that most diets lack entirely. This isn't supplementation, it's biological density. Food that actually feeds the body instead of just filling it. Long before protein powders and multivitamins, moringa was used by ancient Egyptians, who used it to protect skin and preserve food. Indian Ayurvedic medicine has over 4,000 years of documented use. Roman and Greek physicians also valued it, and African communities relied on it to survive extreme famine conditions. In many regions, moringa wasn't considered a superfood. It was honestly insurance against starvation. So why isn't it a global staple today? Moringa grows fast, it thrives in poor soil, it needs very little water, nearly every part of it is edible or useful, and that is actually the problem. So, modern food systems are, well, built around dependency. Think about it. Hybrid seeds that you have to buy again and again, crops that need fertilizers and pesticides, these super centralized supply chains, and processed foods designed for long shelf lives. But, moringa just doesn't fit into any of that. You can actually grow it right in your backyard. No need for chemicals, no need for refrigeration, and honestly, you don't need corporations at all. A plant that lets people feed themselves independently. Yeah, that's a pretty terrible business model for big companies. Here's the key point. Moringa wasn't erased because it failed scientific scrutiny, it was ignored simply because it didn't generate profit. So, research exists, studies confirm its nutritional density, and relief organizations have even used it to combat malnutrition in children and nursing mothers. But, it never really received the funding, branding, or infrastructure needed to enter mainstream diets. Instead, ultra-processed foods, fortified cereals, and synthetic supplements took center stage. Now, moringa is reappearing in survivalist communities, in permaculture and regenerative farming, in developing nations fighting malnutrition, and in wellness circles tired of empty calories. As food insecurity rises and trust in industrial nutrition declines, people are rediscovering what ancient cultures already knew. Real nutrition doesn't come in plastic tubs, it grows on trees. This isn't just about moringa, it's about how many other solutions were buried because they threatened systems built on control instead of resilience. When a single plant can reduce dependency, restore nutrition, grow almost anywhere, and feed families cheaply, it challenges the narrative that hunger is inevitable, and that makes it dangerous. Moringa wasn't erased by force, it was erased by silence, and silence when repeated long enough becomes normal. The real question isn't whether moringa deserves attention, it's how many more answers are still hidden, because they work too well.